You're listening to the Journey Podcast, a ministry of Southcrest Baptist Church. We're here to know the Word, love the Word, and live the Word. Let's take a joyous journey through the Word.
Hi, everyone. I'm Faith, if you don't know me, and today I'm going to ask Tate and Teagan about Beach Reach. So, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a fun time.
Love it. So, how was last week? Did y'all have fun? Did you get sunburned?
Yes.
I got burnt. Bad. Holy moly.
No.
I feel like I'm just now coming off of the burn. Like I could finally stop applying aloe and lotion, you know.
Yeah, I got burned on the tops of my feet pretty bad. And it because I wore Birks, and like the way that the straps are, there's just like this little rectangle in the middle of my foot that was just scorched. And so that wasn't fun for a little bit. But I did surprisingly get tan when I normally just burn and peel. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. We spent a good amount of time at the beach. And so we had plenty of time for like fun activities too with outside of the whole like van rides and pancakes and everything. So it was a blast.
Awesome. That's so cool. Are y'all beach people? Like you enjoy the beach?
I wouldn't say like beach isn't my first choice, but I do love a good beach, you know? Like I had fun. Like me and Calvin were like throwing the baseball around. We were playing spike ball, ultimate frisbee, stuff like that. And that's really fun. But like if I was like, okay, vacation right now, beach normally isn't my first pick. But I mean, I'm not going to throw a pity party and just be like, I hate the beach.
Yeah.
So.
What about you, Teagan?
I thought that I wasn't a beach person. And then we got there, and with a big group of people, I feel like the beach is the best thing in the world. Because I had only ever gone with like my family before, which we're a family of 5. And my parents aren't as agile as they used to be. Okay, they can't do all of the spike ball and running around. So with a big group of people that we had, we got to do so many activities. So I just had like it was so fun. It changed my mindset on beaches.
I can't believe y'all are beach haters. At least originally. That's so rude.
I'm not a hater. It's just not like I'd rather just like go to the mountains or something.
Yeah,
I
guess that makes geographical
especially
sense.
for the time too. Like if it's hot here, I want to be somewhere cooler, not somewhere just as hot.
Yeah, that's true. I'm from Houston. I'm like an hour away from the beach, so can't relate. I really enjoy it. But like, I don't know, whenever people go, like my friends went to visit Maine and stuff, and like they went to the beach, but it was spring, and I'm like, I don't like to swim in cold water. Like I want to be burning hot when I go swimming, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Anyways.
Anyway. Sorry.
Let's debate about the temperature of our favorite water. Ideal temperature.
Okay, so Tate, you've been to Beach Reach before. Do you want to say, like, I think last time you were driving, right? Is that true?
No, I did basically the same. I was a navigator last year.
Navigating. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, did you do that again this year?
No,
okay.
I was actually in the van.
Okay, cool. Do you want to, like, compare the two of, like, your job then, your job now, your experience then, and your experience this time?
Yeah. So like just to explain for people, like there's different roles inside our van rides. There's obviously the driver, then we got navigator who receives the like assignments from home base, and they kind of navigate the driver on where to go, yada yada yada, and then they like take down stats of like after the ride's over, they kind of turn around and ask, "Hey, did you pray for anyone? Did anyone accept Jesus? Did all these things?" And so I did that last year, and I think the role fulfilled what it needed to, and I stepped up in that way. But I was eager to like get out there and just share the gospel. And as a navigator, and Teagan can speak to this here in a second. As a navigator, you're kind of just in the front and you're letting the rest of the people in the van talk. Every now and then you can like chime in and have a conversation and turn around, but it's definitely not as hands-on as like you're right here and a person's right here and you're talking to them directly. And
Yeah.
so this year I got to do that, which was really fun. And I met a bunch of really cool people and worked my evangelism muscle. And so this year
Excellent.
it definitely pushed me to be more uncomfortable, for sure, on a van ride. And like the first few ones, they were rough. They were rough. I was like, so you go to school? Oh, that's so fun. It's just, and that's just how I am. Like if I don't have like a set thing to talk about, like if I'm meeting someone for coffee, for example, like I have general questions that I normally go through, whatever, but these are randos, these are strangers off the street, most of the time inebriated. So I'm like, I don't really have a set system to go by, and so, but it was really good. As the night went on, I got more comfortable and like
It's
it
good.
was better. But it was I think this year, I don't want to say better for me because last year was really cool, but I think this
Cool.
year served me in a different way that I think I needed. So
That's awesome. Did you
yeah,
feel like after you got more used to it, like you developed a script of kind of how to talk to people?
kind of. I would, first off, what's your name? Where you from? Type of thing, and like if they were, we picked up. I feel like last year we had a bunch of people from around that area, but this year I feel like we picked up a bunch of people that were just like we always picked up someone from Iowa. Like there was a bunch of people
What?
from University of Iowa, and I was like,
Interesting.
dang, y'all are a long way from home. And I was like, okay, I
Yeah.
guess Iowa's
What?
better than Iowa State. We got some beef. Because they beat us in the Big 12 tournament. But and then they're like, yeah, I was better. Iowa State sucks, and so that kind of helps open up some conversation and stuff. But it was, yeah, as the night went on, I had like a script, and then every now and then it wouldn't go how I would in my head. I'm just like, I'd short circuit, but it's just like
Yeah.
you have to, and you only have like 5 to 10 minutes with these people, and so that's what's super
It's
challenging too,
crazy.
because you don't want to be like, "Hey, what's your name? Would you say you're a sinner?" Like, like, like right
Yeah.
off the bat, And so it's fun and challenging to try and figure out that like transition into a gospel conversation. So
Okay, I have a question. Is it like one person for each person that comes on the van, or is it like
mhm.
one of y'all talks to like a group of people kind of
Yeah,
thing?
so how just for example, our van, so we have a navigator up front, and then we have 4 people in the van, and there's
Okay.
4 rows, and so each person had a row basically.
Okay.
And if we only picked up a party of 3 guys, like how they want us to do it is guys normally go to the back. And so like I had Matthew with my group, and let's say pick up a group of 3 guys, they would come to the back, and we like kind of both of us would talk to them. But if someone sat right next to you, you're pretty much locked in on that person. And you can
Okay.
gauge too, like in a big group, like we picked up a group of 10 one time, and you kind of pick out like the most
Big.
sober one. I know that kind of sounds bad, but like the one that's kind of like listening to you and giving the most conversation, you kind of just pick them to focus on. And so,
Cool.
yeah,
That makes
it's kind
sense.
of a balance of both.
Okay. Okay, and Teagan. So were you super excited to go to Beach Reach? And like, I don't know, what did you do this time? Like, what was your job?
I was so excited. I think like, the group that went last year, they had like been talking about it ever since they left Beach Reach. So it was just like the most positive things, just talking about the conversations that they had, all of the
It's
things. And so
awesome.
I was so excited, going into it. And I think I was kind of like it was a very different than what I was expecting. I think they did a
Okay.
very good job of like trying to prep us. But once you get on South Padre Island, whoa! It's a lot different than anything I've ever seen before. And so I was kind of expecting like, man, these deep rooted like gospel conversations that last 2 hours and it's gonna be great and people are gonna come to know the Lord, which people did come to know the Lord, which is awesome. But the reality was like we had these people in our van for maybe like if we're lucky 10 minutes. And so it was kind
Yeah.
of like a do with it what you can. Like be
Mm.
faithful with the 10 minutes, you know? And
Yeah.
as Tate was last year, I was a navigator this year. And so I wasn't in the van. Like I was in the van, but I wasn't in the back, like being in the middle of the conversations.
Yeah.
And I will say the first few rides, I would like try to insert myself into the conversation, and then they'd be like, "Who's this girl in the front seat trying to talk to us?" And so,
Oh no.
and I had like the group that I had, they were just like they were on fire, like they were creating
That's awesome.
conversations like nobody's business. And I think it was just
Cool.
like a yeah, like they were doing awesome. And so they didn't really like need me to like hop in because there wasn't really ever an awkward moment for them. Like they just handled it so well. And so I really
Yeah.
just got to plug in the address, like communicate with people, like telling people it's like pray, 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 like they're having such a good conversation. This is what they're talking about. Um, and then I just got to be like, I just got to see my people do their thing. And that was almost like, but like not, I wouldn't say better than me actually like having the conversations. But it was really
Yeah.
cool to see them get to do it and like get to encourage them after like once the people left. So my role was a lot different than what I thought it was gonna be, but I think it was a very cool experience for me still. So
That's awesome. Does everybody start out like being a navigator or not really?
not really. There's a good chunk, because we just had a lot of rotations, and so
Okay.
they put a lot of people that like either were tech savvy or had gone to Beach Reach before. Residents usually go in as navigators first, and so I think that's why
Okay.
Tate went last year.
Mhm.
That's why I went this year, and then everybody else had either gone before or something of that kind of realm. But
Okay.
usually the majority of people are in the bulk of the van.
Okay. Cool. I just wanted to ask you guys, like, do you have like one story of like someone who seemed to really resonate with the gospel?
So there was a guy named Braden that we picked up from Iowa, and he was one of those ones like a part of the big party, and it's loud and everything, and so most of the people are kind of too far gone to even like look you in the eye, you know.
Yeah.
And so he gets on, and I'm talking with him, and we had like it's just one of those things you keep asking questions, and I'm like, oh wait, me too. Like what this? Wait, same. You know. So we had a bunch of things in common. Like he I'm I'm gonna expose myself here for a second. He judged dairy cows at Iowa, and I did that in
Oh.
high school. And so I was like, oh, that's
Okay.
cool. Like I did that through FFA and everything, and then I just kind of popped the question. I was like, how I would normally transition into a gospel conversation? I'd be like, have you been on our rides before? Do you know what Beach Reach is? And most of them would say yes. And I'm like, okay, what kind of conversations did y'all have on that van? And he was just like, yeah, they kind of talked to me about Jesus, and he's like, I'm a Catholic. I go, but I don't go as much as I should. And I was like, and I just kind of pushed further, and I kept asking like, well, why do you think that you don't go as much? And he's like, I don't know, I just think I don't have time. And I was like, and then, and him saying that, I was like, that's how I felt. And I just kind of pushed the Lord away to like my first year of college and later on in high school too, because I just felt like I didn't have enough time to commit to him when we all do. Realistically, we just don't want to admit that. And so it was really cool. And I think too, going into it, you have a lot of pressure on yourself that every conversation should end in a salvation or should end in like a full entire gospel presentation. But it was one of those ones that we talked about it, and I talked to him about Jesus, and I didn't get into any Catholic versus Protestant type of things. But we just kind of connected on that level of like shared experiences and shared stories. And he was like, man, that's really encouraging. Like I think I'm going to try and go more like whenever I go back and look into it more. And I was like, you should. And so it was one of those things that normally I'd walk away and be like, man, he didn't accept Jesus. He didn't, I didn't present the gospel, but it was one of those ones that just felt like really genuine. And that's what kind of Reach is all about. Like you can have this common ground with a stranger, and most of them have some type of faith background or are curious about something, which is really not what you go in thinking. You think that this is like basically hell on earth because there's just like, I don't know, that sounds dramatic, but you like driving on the island and there's just so much going on. There's golf carts going by. It's just like a picture of the lost world on this one little island. And so you go in thinking that everyone's just going to be like, no, I don't want to talk about God. But most of them would bring it up before you even did. And so that's what was really cool. Yeah. And so it kind of puts it kind of clocked me a little bit because, it is easy to be judgmental. And I have a little bit of a buffer to my judgment because, I was there, maybe not to that level, but I definitely partook in many of the things that we see on the island before. And so, but it's still easy to fall into that and just people get on and you just don't know where people are coming from. And it's really cool to hear their stories. So that'd be mine. Braden from Iowa.
Okay, I have a side question.
Mm-hmm.
This might be dumb, but how do you guys market the vans to people? Because if I was there, I would not want to get on a random, that creeps me out. Are any of them scared or awkward?
Okay, so the first day that we really got there, that was our mission. They sent us out with a bunch of cards that had our number on it and said Beach Reach and kind of just told them about us a little bit. And so everybody was all of Beach Reach went out and passed out these cards. Hey, we're giving out free van rides. This is what we're doing. Hey, we're giving out free van rides. This is what we're doing. And there's a bunch of vans going around. And I think the island is so long. I think a lot of people were very hesitant, but the first time they had to do a 35-minute walk, get somewhere, they called us up.
Okay.
They did. And so I did talk to a bunch of couples and they're like, hey, how are you? And one of the ladies was literally like, I was scared to get on the van. Are you kidnapping us?
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Okay.
I was like, that's what I would have thought too. I'm
yes.
if I was on
Won't
South
catch
Padre,
me there. Yeah.
I would not get on that van.
Well, there's a thing called fishing where that's when you don't have your actual assignment. So you just drive up and you pull to the side of the road and you roll down your window hey, you want to ride? So most of the people that we fished were they're like, is it free? And they're like, yeah. And okay. And they'd get on and they would have their things and they'd just be like, and it was really funny.
We were really lucky. The first group that we fished, they were so pumped about it. There was no hesitation at all. They're like, you give free van? We're like, yeah, we're giving free van. And they're like, okay. And they were so excited about the free vans. They were the ones carrying the conversations and it was so cool. So I mean, I guess some people are naturally trusting of white vans.
Oh no.
That's not me.
I didn't get blessed with that gene, I guess.
Yeah, me neither.
What? Oh my gosh. Okay. Teagan, do you want to talk about an impactful story that you encountered or when somebody found the gospel?
Yeah, there was one night we were at Louis, and I was a runner. So a runner, they would Louis is like the bar there. Like that's where a lot of people spend their time. And that's also where we do the free pancakes. So people would hear free
fun.
pancakes and they'd go get pancakes and be like, we're also giving free rides, and they would go take the free rides. So my job there would be like that they would register at the table for a free van ride, and then I would take them to the stall for the van to pick them up.
Okay.
And we were backed up a few, and so we would have like these waiting stations almost, where I got to talk. Like that was where I got the bulk of my conversations.
Cool.
And there's this one guy, and he was like, "Oh, I talked to your friend Charlie Dunn."
Oh.
I was like,
What?
"How did you know that?" He was like, "Oh yeah, I talked about this with Charlie." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Well,
Aw.
thank you, Charlie. You're my plug. This was easy. I didn't have to think of a transition for myself." Um, and he basically, like, he had two phrases, and it was like, "My mom is a great woman of God. My mom is a great woman of God." And then he would say, "But I keep messing up. But I keep messing up." And so it was a really cool conversation of like, um, kind of how to handle that, kind of talking about like, because he was very intoxicated, and it was one of those moments like I was in the
Yeah.
middle of it, and he was very receptive, but he wasn't very responsive, if that makes sense. Like he was
Okay.
like very there, and it was one of those moments where like I got to tell him about like the character of our God, and kind of how he can meet us there. And it's like while we were still sinners, like like he saved us, you know. And
Yeah.
he went to the cross and died for us. And so like we kind of got into heavy conversation, and it was really really good and impactful. And I was like, man, like I hope he can remember. I hope like God can use that, you know. But that was like one of my first conversations where it actually turned into something deeper. And it was like you could tell that he was just looking for something that was missing. Looking back now, I'm like, that's so awesome. Like that's such a good conversation. But in the middle of it, or like right after it, I was a little discouraged, to be honest, because I'm like,
Mm.
we were having such good conversation, but
Mhm.
he was so intoxicated. I don't know if he's going to be able to even remember what we talked
Mm.
about. And so it was like one of those moments where Tyler did a really great job throughout the week of just being like, don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. And it was
That's
just
good.
one of those moments where Tyler had to kind of pump me up. You know, it's
Uh,
like
Yeah.
it's not about that. Like he's a lot greater than this man's intoxication. So it was a really
That's
really
true.
cool conversation. One of my favorites, I would say.
That's awesome. And you guys are
Yeah.
just like planting seeds, and they
mhm,
like the Bible promises they won't return back like void and empty. Like God is going to water that seed. And it sucks that like we can't be there to see it
mhm.
after it happens, you know? Would you say like y'all talked mainly to like Tegan, you would talk to girls, and Tate, you would talk to guys, or like
It's kind of how they want it to happen
okay.
because you know it's like that because things have happened in the past where people have been put in uncomfortable situations, so they just try to avoid it at all costs. But like one of the last rides we gave was to a big group of girls, and like they're up at the front talking, and one just kind of turned around and started talking to me, and I'm not gonna be like, yeah, uh-huh, and just be super
Yeah.
like I'm like obviously I'm not gonna like flirt or try and get anything like that out of it, and she
Yeah.
wasn't trying to do that either. She was genuinely just talking to me. And so I
Mm.
think for the most part, yes, like we try to stick to that because, I can relate to a lot of things that guys have gone through that Tegan can't, and vice versa.
Mhm.
And so that's what we
Cool.
try to keep it as, but every now and then there'd be some that you should have a good conversation.
Just like the way that it landed for us, we just got a lot of groups of big guy groups. And it was
Uh-huh.
Mm.
like, so just out of pure like numbers, like, we did get to talk to a lot of guys. I feel like there were more guy groups than girl groups that we ran into just overall on the island. And so I did get to talk to a lot of guys, which I wasn't crying, like, wasn't the best, but it wasn't like, it wasn't awkward as I thought it
Cool.
was going to be.
Mhm.
And so
That's good.
everybody was, for the most part, like, everybody was very receptive and, like, very
Cool.
kind. Like, I didn't have any instances where somebody, well, I had two instances where somebody was like, no, don't talk to me.
Wow.
Yeah. Which those, it was like, oh. But everybody
Yeah.
else was like very, everybody was like, oh yeah, tell us about it, you know?
So why should some Journey students go next year?
I think we should always accept opportunities to go and share the gospel of Jesus and the good news, because we're commanded to in Matthew 28. Now, do we always share in the place that we currently are? No, and I'm very guilty of that. And I
Me
think
too.
Beach Reach is one of those things that can be like a Kickstarter, like a launching pad into like what the Lord wants you to do. And I think the same thing happened last year. Like, you just get back and you just have these experiences in your tool belt to kind of give you the confidence to lean over to someone in class and just start up a conversation. And again, it doesn't have to immediately be like, do you know Jesus? But it helps you work out that muscle to where you get the confidence to be able to share that. And number two, like, that's how most of like my close-knit community happened, was because last year, like, we had a smaller group and it was people that, yes, I had talked to before, but there were also some that I hadn't. And so I think that's what's really cool. It's like,
Cool.
just as much as it's for other people and to serve other people, it's also serving us as a group and as a community. And like this year we had a huge group. We took close to 30 people, and it was really
Cool.
cool just like seeing everybody intermingle that you just normally wouldn't see. If you want to share the gospel and if you want to get closer to your community, you should go on Beach Reach.
I think Tate hit the nail on the head. But I will say, like, going into Beach Reach, like, people signing up to go on Beach Reach, there were some hesitations in people signing up because they were just plain scared. You know what I mean? And sharing the gospel and having those, like, it's very intimidating. You know, it is.
Yeah.
We had Beach Reach meetings where Tyler showed us what South Padre was gonna be like, kind of told us what Beach Reach was gonna be like, and then gave us like tools to like share our testimony, tools to share the gospel in different ways. And so we went in equipped, but I would say like the biggest thing, for like recommending people to go to Beach Reach is like you get thrown in. Like, yes, Tyler, like we get equipped and like we're given tools, but it's like once you get on that van, you have your first people, it's like kind of like you're thrown in both feet, you know, you kind of have to run with it. A lot of the people that were hesitant before signing up, they're walking away, they're like, this is awesome. Like, I can't believe
It's
I
great.
was, like, this is so good. And I think that's, like, we as humans, like, in our nature, like, that's the way we learn best, is just kind of being thrown in and learning how to swim kind of thing. And then I would say, yeah, like, our community, like, everybody was just, we were always going somewhere all together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we had um some people on the quieter side that like at a TNG or at home group like this past week, like they really shined. Like we really
It's
got to
awesome.
have great conversations with them. It was like, oh yeah, come on, you know. But yeah, it was really awesome.
I feel like it would be intimidating to be like, we're giving free rides to people and we're just like approaching people. But like, and then you're talking to them about Jesus. And if you don't do that in your everyday life, it's like, that's a little bit scary. But then you have like this support system It seems like you have all the other Journey students who are doing it too, and other students from other schools, like,
Mm-hmm.
who are participating in Beach Reach, and you have Tyler, and, like, you're not alone. And I think that's, like,
Right.
really important to remember. So the rest of this is just hearing stories from you guys about Beach Reach, or I want to know if you found anyone more sunburnt than you, which I'm guessing you did.
So so there's Louis, which is like the big like bar on the island, and Clayton's is called a beach bar, and it's like the biggest beach bar in Texas. And so basically we're in between those two places because that's where the most people are. And at Clayton's, you'll see people that are just asleep in UV12 and just, I mean, I walk by and I'm like, I'm hurting looking at that. And like I know that is gonna hurt whenever you wake up from your little nap. And also too, like we were just playing volleyball and we're just like cutting up, and like these girls played soccer at Tarleton, and Teagle's like, my sister played softball at Tarleton. And so it's just like it's those interactions where it's like you're connecting first as like just people. And I think that that's really cool, is like you just get to have cool interactions with people that you might not even get around to sharing the gospel, but that's what's really cool about it, is you just connect with people.
On the beach one day, because like we would set up on the beach and like bring spike ball, volleyball, frisbees, all the things, and like our goal with that was like, yes, we were playing and it was fun for us, like don't get me wrong, but like the goal of that was to like go around and invite people to come have fun with us, and kind of that be our segue kind of thing. And we were playing spike ball one time, and it was me and Tate.
Oh yeah, okay,
we
yeah,
we
from
had
another
these,
group from Iowa.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
and they were these
Yeah.
Iowa boys, and you can tell me and Tate, we had kind of like, hey, you want to start a game with them like 3 times, like they were very
Wow.
hesitant.
Well,
And
and they came as like a group. Sorry to cut you off. They came as
no,
a
you're
group,
good.
and then like the other two went and played, and so it's just these other two just kind of on the side. We're like, hey, and they're like, oh, I'm not that good. Like I'm not. And they
And
finally
I
gave
yeah,
in.
I think like
Okay.
we finally had just like been persistent enough, and I think low key they thought that we were like gonna be weird, and like, you know what I mean, like they
Yeah.
knew why we were there, kind
And
of
they found
thing.
out that we were the coolest
Okay.
people ever. So.
And we got to play
Fair.
spike ball with them, and you know what? Even kind of like mess with them a little bit, kind of like, oh man, they missed. Like I kind of got to talk a little bit of like sports talk, you know, like a little bit of, and they were like, oh, okay, so these are real
That's
people,
fun.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they're
Yeah.
fun, and we could have conversation with them, and
That's
that
good.
was a really fun interaction that we got to have. That wasn't just the band.
Were y'all wearing Beach Reach shirts? Like, did
For
you
the
match?
yeah, we got a shirt, and then we got like a what is it called, a crew neck, and like most
Okay.
of the time, like at night, because it'd get pretty, and the first few days were like really windy, so we were all kind of wearing crew necks. So you would see people like with Beach Reach stuff, and but we had like, I don't have it on right now, but we were given wristbands too, and it was really funny because like if no one was wearing Beach Reach stuff and we were handing out cards, you'd have Beach Reachers like come up to our group and be like, hey guys, have you heard of the free van service on the island? And we'd just be like, and they'd be like, oh, okay. And so
Oh my
sometimes we
gosh.
would match, but like it wasn't like we all go out and we're all like wearing the
Yeah.
same thing.
Were they all like, were all the people like college students, or did you have like some age varying?
I had a bunch of, it was a lot, like like the majority of them were college students, or I would
Okay.
say, but I did have a wide variety of people. Like we had, so there was some group of high schoolers that would
Wow.
come, and then they would be like, oh, like, where do you go to school? And they'd be like, we'd be like, you're in high school, and they're like, yeah. And then like I had couples that were like in their 30s, and they were just there
Oh
for
wow.
their spring vacation. And so yeah, we kind of got to talk to a wide variety of people for sure. Our last night running bands, we fished a group of girls from this hotel while we were doing an actual assignment. and they wanted Whataburger so bad.
So bad.
So bad. And Gavin was our driver, okay? And if you don't know Gavin, his sense of humor is unmatched. Like nobody else has his sense of humor. It's so good. He's so funny. And she was like, I want to get the sweet and spicy bacon cheeseburger. And Gavin, without hesitation, was like, they don't have it. And they're like, what?
They were like, no.
You would have thought he had told
Yeah.
them the worst news ever. It was so funny.
They were
And they
from
didn't believe
Oklahoma.
him. Yeah.
They're from Oklahoma, and it was like they got on the
Mhm.
van, which is I'm glad that we were there. Like the situation's awful, but it was kind of funny. But they got on, and this one girl. This is what I was talking about. The girl was talking to me, and she was like,
Mhm.
"Man, we are so glad y'all are here because I'm from Tulsa, and that guy was ready to pop." It's just really funny, and and then they just started talking about Whataburger, and they were like, Teagan, I don't know if you remember. There's this one girl. She was like, "Well, do they have mayo?" And we're like, what? She's like, do they have ranch? Jalapeno ranch? And we're like, probably. She's like, oh, let's go. And I was like, what? What does mayo and ranch have to do with anything? And they were just like, yeah, oh, I can't wait to get to Whataburger. And it was just all about Whataburger.
Yeah.
So
It was so funny.
it was great. That group was pretty fun.
Is that where y'all dropped them off?
Yes.
That was our
That's
last
so
ride of the
funny.
night. You dropped them
Oh my
off, and they were
gosh.
just like, they're like, thank y'all, we love y'all, like, God bless. And then they just like ran into Whataburger.
That's so
like a kid in
funny.
a candy store. So
Thank you guys for letting me ask you questions.
yeah.
Of course.
So as we leave today, ask good questions, live in the uncomfortable so that we learn to trust the Bible and know God more deeply. You are sent.